Hello there, ROS developers, and welcome to this live class number 90, where we are going to be discussing a little bit about some of the differences between ROS1 and ROS2. So, let's go! Hello there everybody, and welcome to this new live class number 90. We are getting real close to the number 100. So welcome everybody, and today we are going to start a series which is going to be based on ROS2, which is going to be called ROS2 Essentials, where the following live classes are going to be related to this issue and to learning some ROS2 and practicing some ROS2. And today in the first live class of this series, we are going to be discussing a little bit about differences between ROS1 and ROS2, doing some basic demonstrations on ROS1 and ROS2, and finally also we are going to have a peek at the ROS1 bridge node. So yeah, let's go for it. I want to tell you, all of you, that I'm currently suffering a heavy tooth pain, which might interfere a little bit with my talking ability, but I'm going to try to do my best. So yeah, let me have a quick look at the chat to see if everything is going fine. Hello, I can see there Linda Capito, The Marvel, Rashik, RZ. Hello. Okay, so hello everybody and welcome to all the family. So, as always, I'm going to start by sharing with you the projects, guys. So I'm going to go real quick to grab here the project link for today. Let me come here and get the link and paste it here in the chat. There we go. Sorry about the toothache, says Matt. Thank you. I hope it's not going to be too heavy during this live class. Pranshu Topol says, very much excited for this session. I'm thinking to buy the new MacBook Pro, and if ROS2 runs on it, my work life will be so much easier. Okay, great. So we are going to see that in this live class. Ramon says, hello Alberto, excellent work you do at the construct. Thank you very much, Ramon. Really appreciate those words. Okay, so all of you guys, I'm going to now switch, as always, to the computer view so that we can start working. And last thing, I'm going to get a drink here at my magic coffee. In my ROS developer, in this case it's the ROS developer Mac. However, I have another Mac which is about ROS2, so maybe I should bring that for the next live classes. I'm going to switch my ROS developer MOOC for a ROS2 MOOC for the following live classes. I'm going to take that into account. All right, guys, so let's go for it. I'm going to switch right now to my computer screen. And let's go for it. So once you get and click on the link, if you are already logged in the ROS Development Studio, you should get this project here, the ROS Developers Live Class number 90. Yeah. And if you don't have an account, just create it. It will take you just some seconds. It's real quick and it's free. So just create the account, log in, and click on the link, and you are going to get this project here in your workspace. Yep. So I'm going to start now opening in this project here by clicking on the Open Project button, and this is going to start opening my instance. So meanwhile, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. So, as in the live classes, very quick, I want to remind you about our ROS study group, which you can access here from the bottom right corner of the ROS Development Studio. Here you can click on this button, and this is going to take you to our Discord server, where you can join our community, where you are going to find many people interested in ROS. Also, I want to remind you about the ROS Developers Day, which is going to be held on June 27th. So it's going to be super nice. It's going to be a full day of conferences where very high quality speakers are going to make talks about different ROS topics, ROS related topics, and at the same time that you are going to be able to listen these conferences, you are going to be able to practice, yes, everything you learn on these conferences. So they are not going to be only talk conferences, but practical conferences. Yes, so have a look here at this page. Let me share it with you as well in the chat, in case you want to have a look. And if you are interested, just sign in, register for the conference. It's going to be super nice. Then finally, I want to do a special shout out today to our YouTube channel. So we are currently... Alright, so we are getting close to the 20k subscribers, but I am thinking of preparing something special if we reach a higher number. I don't know how many subscribers it's going to be. I think more than 20k, because 20k is quite close, but I don't know, maybe 50k, I don't know. But when we reach a certain number of subscribers, I'm going to prepare a special live class. I'm thinking of something that could be interesting for you guys, like maybe I don't know, maybe recording a video of how we prepare the live classes, what is the full process from zero to having the live class prepared, or something like that. I don't know, you can make your suggestions as well, but we would like to prepare something special for reaching also a special number of subscribers. Yeah, so guys, if you are not subscribed, remember to subscribe to our channel, because it's completely free. Then let's go for it. So let me close everything. Let me come back here, and I have my project already loaded. Excellent. So let me close everything here, and yeah, so you should be at the same point as I am here, with the project loaded and the notebook here prepared, the notebook of the live class number 90, of course. And in this case, we are not going to work with any simulation for today, yeah? So we are going to be focusing on shell commands, basically. We are not going to work with any simulation, so there's no simulation to be set up in future live classes. In the following weeks, we are going to need it, but today we are going to keep it on the basic, and we are not going to be working with any simulation. So basically all you need to have is this, the project loaded with the notebook opened. Yeah, so let me know if everything is fine, if you are on this same point. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat to see if everything is fine, so that we can keep going. Loading. The Marvel 2000 says, I study masters in Germany. Any possibility to work under your projects? I can ask you in mail as well. Yeah, Marvel, so that reminds me something. That currently we are looking for people who can build courses, ROS courses, So yeah, if you have some ROS knowledge, or it doesn't have to be, well, it's going to have some ROS things, but you can build a course, for instance, about, I don't know, robot dynamics or robot control, which is more theoretical, but always applying these theoretical concepts to ROS and to practicing with a robot, which is basically our essence. So yeah, Marvel, send us an email and maybe we can make you some suggestions of some courses that you can build. I don't know. Gloria says the ROS Developers Conference has an early bid special price that ends on May 15. So sign up before then for the good deal. Yeah, that's true, Gloria. That's true. So we have this early bid price, which is going to end quite soon. So yeah, guys, if you are interested, sign up now, because very soon the price of the registration is going to get higher. All set, I'm ready. The end-to-end process for making a live class would be super interesting. Yeah, I also think so, Gloria. But I don't know, maybe you are more interested, guys, in seeing another thing. Like, I don't know, maybe you say, hey, I prefer to see how do you dress when you wake up in the morning, and how you, I don't know. I don't know. Loaded. Could you please share the email? You can look it in the description of the video, Pranshu, or in our website. You are also asking there the email. I think that the email should be in the description of the video. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If not, go to our website and there you are going. I don't remember exactly now which one we should use for this, for the contacts. So I don't want to risk it to give you the wrong email. So just go to our website, guys, and you are going to find the contact email there. Okay, so it seems like everybody is set up already with the project. Excellent. So let's start. What do you think, guys? All right, so let's go for it. Then for this live class, the only requirement I think would be to have a minimal knowledge of Linux command tools, because we are going to be working with web shells. So that would be the only requirement, I would say. We are not going to be working with Python for now or anything else. So the only requirement would be to have some basics of Linux, which, as always I remember that you can get for free in our free course here in the Robot Ignite Academy, in our Linux for Robotics free course. And let's start. So let's go for it. We don't need to launch any simulation, anything. So let's start. Then we are going to start with some differences between ROS1 and ROS2 on the architecture side. There are many more differences, but I'm going to point out some of them, which I think are important differences. So first of all, let me make this a bit bigger so that we can see it better. Then here you have an image with some differences in the architecture between ROS1 and ROS2, which we are going to discuss here in the following points. So, a first heavy difference between ROS1 and ROS2 is the middleware layer, which is this one. Yes, so here we have differentiated between three layers, which is the OS, the operating system, the middleware layer, and finally the application layer. Yes, so this would be the operating system, this would be the ROS programs that you create, and then here in the middle there's a middleware layer. Yes? Then this middleware layer, it's very different in ROS1 and ROS2. In ROS1, basically we're using custom protocols like TCP-ROS, UDP-ROS, which are based on TCP and UDP, but they have been created custom for ROS. Yes, that's why they are called TCP-ROS and UDP-ROS. This is for ROS1. So this is how ROS1 works. But for ROS2, ROS2 uses DDS. I don't know if you were able to access to the DDS class we did some weeks ago. So let me open here. We should have it somewhere here. So I don't know if three or 4 weeks ago we did a special live class about DDS on ROS2. We have it here. We have it where we discussed more in detail about this. So you can have a look at this live class in order to get more data on this. But basically, ROS2 uses DDS for this middleware layer, yes, which allows to DDS is the data distribution service. Yeah, DDS it's a communication protocol, let's say, yeah, which has many different implementations. Yes, so in ROS2 you can change the implementation of DDS you use depending on your network needs or the setup you need, etc. Yes. Then this middleware layer, as you can see, it's a huge difference here between ROS1 and ROS2. Yeah. Then, as we can see as well here in the image, another very important thing is the ROS master. Yes. So ROS1 has a master we know as master, which is a master ROS node, which controls all the ROS infrastructure, let's say. Yes, so this ROS master is required in order to do anything with ROS1. Yes, if you want to create a ROS program and launch your ROS program, you are going to need to have a ROS master running previously. Otherwise, this is not going to be it's not going to be possible. If you want to run any ROS related command, etc., you always need to have this ROS master. Yes. This is it's like a centralized node, a master node, which controls everything, yes, and which controls all the other ROS nodes. Then this, of course, this ROS master in ROS1, it's launched using the ROS core command, as probably some of you already know. Then in ROS2, this doesn't work like this, yes. All these communications between nodes, nodes discovery, etc. All of this is handled by the DDS protocol. Yes, all of this is handled here on the middleware layer by DDS. But basically, it's a peer-to-peer. It's based on a peer-to-peer system. Yeah, so every node can discover other nodes. Yes, so this node has the ability to discover directly any other node that is running. Yes. On the other side, in ROS1, this node has to ask this master about other nodes running. Then this master is going to tell this node, hey, you have this other node running. Yes? So this is a huge difference as well, as you can see. Yeah? So in ROS1, each node needs to ask to this master about other nodes running. Yes? In ROS2, this is a peer-to-peer, let's say, communication. Yeah. Then I saw another very important difference between ROS1 and ROS2 is that ROS1 is only supported to work on Linux system. Yeah. So you can work in Ubuntu, for instance. There is I think there is support for other distributions as well, but they need to be Linux system. On the other side, ROS2 is currently supported to work on Linux system, OS, and Windows. If I'm not wrong, currently ROS2 is being tested in Ubuntu Genial, in OS 10, and in Windows 10. Yeah, so I saw there in the chat a question about somebody who was thinking of buying a MacBook Pro and work with ROS2, so you can see that yes, it's going to be you are going to be able to do so, because in ROS2 you are going to have support for Linux system, OS, and Windows. Yep. So this is a very, very important and huge difference. Then for programming languages, ROS1 it's based on C++ 0.3. Yeah. So it doesn't make use of C++ 11 features in its API. On the other side, ROS2 uses C++ 11. Yes, and there are plans to use C++ 14 and even C++ 17. Yes, in the future. And for as for Python, ROS1, as you may already know, works with Python 2. yes, which is for me one of the biggest handicaps currently of ROS1, that still works in Python 2. And on the other side, ROS2 requires at least Python 3.5 version. Yes, so this is a very, very huge and important difference as well. Yep. Then a couple of more practical differences, let's say, is that, as you know, in ROS1, it's not possible to create more than one node in a process. Yes, so when you create a ROS program let me create here. So in ROS1, when you create a ROS program and call the init node functionality, for instance from ROSPy, you can only create one node per process, per program. Yes, you cannot create another node in the same program or process. Yes, this is not allowed in ROS1. But in ROS2, I don't know what I am doing here. Yeah, but in ROS2, this can be done. Yes, so in ROS2, it's possible to create multiple nodes in a single process. Yes, so this is another huge difference as well between ROS1 and ROS2, more in the not so in the architecture, but more in the practical sense. Yes, and finally, another difference which I consider important between ROS1 and ROS2 is that in ROS1, as you might already know, launch files are created using XML, like this. Yeah, so probably most of you know this structure with the package, the type, etc. Yes, so in ROS1, launch files are created using XML, are defined in XML syntax, yes, like this. In ROS2, this is no longer done like this, and launch files are created in Python, yes? So because of this, because launch files are built in Python, in ROS2, you have much more flexibility in order to create, like, for instance, using conditionals, if, else's, etc. Yes, which is super useful. Yes, so you can create much more complex in the logic sense launch files in ROS2. Yeah. All right, so this would be a more or less overview of some important differences between ROS1 and ROS2. There, as I've said, there are many more differences. We are going to be reviewing some of them on the following live classes, but today we have only 1 hour, so we cannot go too deep into anything. So basically, I wanted to highlight some of the differences I consider which are very important, but there are many others which we are going to be reviewing in the following days. Yep. So let me have a quick look here at the chat. Andrew says that he remembers that class. I suppose you refer to the DDS class we did some weeks ago. Hi, is ROS real-time system are already? ROS2 is going to be much more better to work to create real-time systems than ROS1. Yeah, I don't know if at this point, because you have to keep in mind that ROS2 it has advanced a lot in the last month and years, but it's still under development. Yeah, so there are many things that are still under development. So there's still work to do on ROS2. So I don't know if it's already prepared to handle a real-time system, ROS2, but I do know, and I can tell you that ROS2 is going to be much more prepared in the near future to work with real-time systems. That's for sure. It's going to be much better than ROS1. Okay, I can see already many questions here. If there are two ROS systems running on the same network, what do you mean, Matt? If there are two ROS systems, how is the integration with OpenCV? All right. So many interesting questions here, which might be topics for a whole live class. So, does Gazebo and RBID work the same way in ROS2 as it works in ROS1? Does Gazebo and RBID support macOS and Windows if we use ROS2? Very interesting question as well. So today we are not going to be using Gazebo, but in the following, nor RBID, but in the following weeks we are going to do so. So you are going to see that, Pranshu. Can you install ROS1 and ROS2 concurrently on Linux? Yes, you can, and in fact, in this project, they are installed. And we are going to test them right now. So, okay, so because of this question from Engineering Nation, let's start doing some practice here, because he asked, can you install ROS1 and ROS2 in a same Linux machine? Yes, you can. In fact, here, in this machine, in this project, we have installed ROS2 Eloquent, as you can see here. This is an Ubuntu 18.04 machine, which has installed ROS2 Eloquent, but it has also installed ROS1 Melodic. Yeah? So it has the ROS2 Eloquent distribution and the ROS1 Melodic distribution. And can we switch between them? Yes, we can. So let's start doing here some practice. So first of all, what I want to do is to run a demonstration node here in ROS1. So for that, I'm going to open a new shell here. And here I can see a mistake. So it's not OPR, it's OPT. Yeah, so keep this in mind. Then I'm going to come here, and the first thing I'm going to need to do is to get this command here, copy it and paste it. And what is this command doing? This command, what it's doing is to source this ROS melodic distribution. Yes? Then by sourcing the melodic distribution, I'm going to be able to work with ROS2, with ROS1 now, sorry, with ROS melodic. Yeah? So now, here we have a source of the calcing workspace, which is not going to be needed. Then we can directly try to run here this package and this node, the talker node from the ROS CPP tutorials. Yeah, so this is a ROS1 command. This is the ROS1 command in order to start a ROS node in ROS1. Yes? Then this basically what it's going to do is to start a talker, in theory. But it's not working. Failed to contact master at master 11311. Retrying. Okay, so we are getting an error here. What is happening here? Well, as I have said before at the beginning of the class, ROS1 needs to have a master node running. Yes? Otherwise, you are not going to be. I'm not going to be able to start any other ROS node. I need to have this master. So the first thing I need to do in ROS1, if I want to execute this node, it's going to be to start the ROS master node. And this is done using the ROS core command. Yeah? So I'm going to execute here the ROS core command, which is going to start my master node. And now I'm going to be able to start working with ROS. Yeah? So I'm going to leave this master node running here. And now I'm going to open another shell, and I'm going to repeat again the source, because I want to work with ROS1, so I need to source ROS1. In this case, it's the melodic distribution. And now I'm going to be able to run this command and start my talker node. Yeah? So here we have it. Now my talker node is running. And you can see it's publishing here the hello world. And in fact, now I can come here as well, source again ROS1, and start working with ROS1 commands. Like for instance, ROS node list. This is going to show me the talker node here running. I can get information about this node. Yes, I can get information about the topics as well, ROS topic list, I can get information about this chatter topic, which is the topic where all these messages are being published. Yeah, here we can see the information about this specific topic. I can even subscribe to this topic using the ROS topic echo. Yeah? Alright. So let me stop this. So now, as you can see, we are perfectly working with ROS1. Yeah, we needed to start our ROS master with the ROS core command, but we can perfectly work with ROS1 by sourcing the proper ROS distribution, which in this case, it's melodic. Yes? Now, let's try to do something similar, but with ROS2. What do you think? So now, I'm going to close all these shells, and I'm going to try to do something similar, but with ROS2. So, let me open a new shell from 0, and in this case, what I'm going to need to source, it's a different ROS distribution, which in this case, as you can see, it's eloquent. So now, instead of the melodic distribution, I am sourcing the eloquent distribution. Yes, so let me execute this command. And now, by sourcing the ROS eloquent distribution, I'm going to be able to work with ROS2 and start working with ROS2. So now, I can come here and get this ROS2 command. This is the equivalent to the ROS1 command from ROS1. Yes? In ROS2, the ROS1 command is executed like this: ROS2 run, then the name of the package and the name of the node. Yeah? Then let's run this command. There we have it running. But is this actually working? Yes, there we have it. So, as you can see, for ROS2, we didn't have to start any ROS master, yeah? So, I have directly sourced the ROS2 distribution, which is eloquent in this case, and I can directly start running ROS2 nodes and running ROS2 commands, as you are going to see right now. So let me open a different shell. Let me source one more time the eloquent version in this case. And now I can do a ROS2 topic list, which is the equivalent command for the ROS topic list. And I'm going to get here a list of the topics with the chatter. I can do a ROS2 node list. I can get information about this node as well using the ROS2 node info of the talker node. I'm going to get information, as you can see here, related to this node. I can get information with the ROS2 topic info of the chatter topic as well. Yeah? So, as you can see here, we can, with this very basic demonstration, we can see one of the most important differences between ROS1 and ROS2. So, in ROS1, for running this chatter, this talker node, we needed to first start the ROS master node. Yeah, we needed to execute the ROS core command in order to start the ROS master node. In ROS2, this is not required. So I can directly source the ROS2 version and I can start a ROS node without the need of starting any ROS master. Yes? So with this we can see and test in the practice one of the main differences between ROS1 and ROS2, which is this ROS master. Yes? You have it here. Alright, so let me go back to the chat 1 second. Okay, so I can see as well here many things. Thank you very much, Gloria, for your comment. Thank you very much. Lavania says, ROS master is not started yet. Yes, you were right. You were right, Lavania. So I needed to explicitly start the ROS master in ROS1. If there are two ROS2 systems running on the same network without a master, if there are two ROS2 systems running on the same network without a master, how are they differentiated? That's a very good question, Matt. There are different answers to that question, but I think that as well that would be a very good topic for a different live class. So guys, I can see that there are many questions here, but they are questions, well, at least some of them I can see that there are questions which are almost the topic of a live class. So I suggest you guys that when this live class finishes and it's published as a video, you leave all these comments here as a comment in the video, so that we can see them and prepare following live classes and discuss about that. Yes? Engineering says, is sourcing done because you need to tell every shell what distribution and workspace to use? Yes, that's right, engineering. So every time you open a new shell, you need to specifically do the proper sources to tell that shell which ROS distribution you want to use. I can see there Andrew answering the question to Matt. Can I create a ROS package and run it with both? Can I create a ROS package and run it with both ROS versions 1 and 2? Using conditions in the semiclists.txt file. Can you show an example? So create a ROS package and run it with both. I don't think that's going to be possible, Walter. I don't think. Basically because the building system is not the same in ROS1 and ROS2. Yeah. So if the building process was the same in ROS1 and ROS2, maybe that would be possible, but that's not the case. So I'm not completely sure about that, but if I had to answer you now, I would say that that's not going to be possible. What did that message about mixing distributions mean? What message do you mean, engineering? Oh yeah, no, here basically it's saying in the source, here it says, ROS distro was set to melodic before. Please make sure that the environment does not mix paths from different distributions. So basically by default, if I open a shell, oops, not the ID, sorry. I wanted to open a new shell. This is done like this in this project. But for instance, let me do a rosenv. Yeah, so you can see here that by default, when we open a shell by default, the ROS version which is sourced is melodic. Yes? Why? Because this is specifying like this in the bashrc file. Yeah? The bashrc file indicates all the commands executed when a new shell is opened. Then somewhere here in the bashrc file, maybe not in this one, but in other specific, let me do an LL. Probably here in the TC bashrc. No, not here. Let me go here to the bottom of the file. TC exit. I cannot find exactly the line here, but basically, as you can see, when we open a new shell, by default, the ROS distribution which is sourced is ROS1 melodic by default. Yes. Then since here I am switching the distribution, here it's telling me this. ROS distro was set to melodic before. Yes, please make sure that the environment does not mix paths from different distributions. Yeah, so it's telling me that, hey, we are sourcing here different ROS distributions, so be careful, yes, because this might cause problems. Basically, that's what the message is telling. Let me see more here. In ROS2, there is no master because DDS defines and controls the network or domain as they are called in DDS. So you can search for DDS domain to learn how to run multiple domains. Yeah, that's right, Paul. Yeah. So all these node discovery, serialization, communication between nodes, etc., is handled in DDS in ROS2. Okay, guys, so let's try to complete here the notebook, and we will go back to the chat later. All right, so we have seen some basic differences here in terms of architecture between ROS1 and ROS2. We have done here a little practice of sourcing different ROS versions, ROS melodic and ROS eloquent, and executing a basic demonstration, a basic demo node in both of them. And we have been able to see here the importance of the ROS master in ROS1 and how in ROS2 this is not needed anymore. Yes, in ROS2, instead of the master, we have the DDS system which handles this node discovery. Yes? And then finally, I want to do a last practice here on the ROS1 bridge node. So basically, the ROS1 bridge node, it's a node that allows communication between ROS1 and ROS2 nodes. Yes? So by starting this ROS1 bridge, I can, for instance, run a talker node in ROS1, and then in a different shell, run a listener node in ROS2. And they are going to be able to communicate between them and share the messages thanks to this ROS1 bridge node. Yes? Then how can I use this ROS1 bridge node? Okay, let me start from zero as well. I want to start with fresh shells so that they don't have anything strange there. So, in order to start the ROS1 bridge node, what I need to do is first source the ROS1 version. So in this case, we are going to source the melodic distribution. Yes? So I first source the melodic distribution. Next, I'm going to source the ROS2 distribution. There we go. So first I source melodic, next I source eloquent. Yes? There we go. Now I'm going to get this message because I am switching the distribution. Then, an important thing to check here is the ROS master URI variable. So in this case, we have it at master. So we are going to set it, we are going to make sure that the ROS master URI remains like this. Yes, it's master here. So let me do this, and there we go. So we are setting here the ROS master URI to this direction, to this URL. Yes? Then finally, in this case, it was already correct, so this command, it was not necessary. Yes? Then finally, I'm going to run the command ROS2 run ROS1 bridge dynamic bridge. Yes, so this command is going to start the ROS1 bridge node. So let me run this. And I am getting an error here. Does somebody know? Can somebody tell me what is happening here? Why am I getting this error? Guys, let me know in the comments. How difficult is it to migrate the packages developed in ROS1 to ROS2? Very good question. And in fact, next week's live class, so next Tuesday, we are going to have the live class on how to port a ROS1 program to ROS2. Yes? So stay tuned, Lavania, because next week we are going to talk about this. We need ROS Master. ROS Master hasn't started yet. ROS Core for ROS1. Okay, excellent. I love it. I love it. So yeah, you are right, guys. So as you can see, here it's complaining about about the ROS Master not being found. So what do we need to do? We need to start a ROS Master. So let's source here ROS1 and let's start a ROS Master. There we go. So we started the ROS Master and the ROS1 bridge node is started executed properly. Yes? So now we have the ROS1 bridge node running here. Then what we are going to do is to open a new shell and start a talker node in ROS1. Yes? So we are going to source here ROS1 and we are going to ROS CPP tutorials talker. We are going to start a talker node here, a publisher in ROS1. There we go. And now I'm going to open a different shell and here I'm going to source ROS2. So eloquent. Not ROS1 but ROS2. There we go. So here I have ROS2 sourced. Yes? Then now here if I do a ROS topic list, I cannot see the chatter node. Yes? However, now I'm going to run this command. Oops, sorry, I lost my shell. I'm going to run this command, ROS2 run demo node CPP and listener. Yes? So here, basically, I'm starting a publisher node in ROS2, which is going to subscribe to the same topic to which this talker is publishing. Yes? Then let me run this command. And as you can see, as soon as I execute this command, here a connection is created. Yes, passing message from ROS1 standard messages string to ROS2 standard messages string. Yes? So basically, here in the ROS1 bridge node, a connection has been created between this publisher in this subscriber, in ROS2 and this publisher in ROS1. Yes, so this is a very, very interesting tool, the ROS1 bridge node, because it allows this communication between nodes in ROS1 and nodes in ROS2. Yes, this, for instance, with ROS bridge, we can launch a simulation, a gazebo simulation in ROS1, which is based in ROS1, and we can create a program in ROS2 which communicates with this simulation, which is based in ROS1. Yes, this could be a possible utility of ROS1 bridge, for instance. In fact, in our ROS2 course, in our academy, I'm going to show it to you later, we have a course about ROS2 basics, where this is done. So we have many simulations being launched there in ROS1, and using the ROS1 bridge, we create programs in ROS2 which actuate on these simulations. Yes? Alright guys, so yeah, basically we have covered all the material for today. So let me go back one more time to the chat here. ROS core is needed first. ROS1 needs ROS core. Okay, very well. I saw that all of you were very, very fast there with the solution. Then for developing a GUI for ROS-based software, which will be preferable, desktop-based apps like RVs, RQT, or web-based apps like WebRVs? I would say that totally depends on your needs. Pradi Pefna is asking this question. This is a super interesting question, but For instance, if I were to develop a GUI, I would do it web-based. Yeah, but that's my case. Because I always prefer to work in something which is based on the web than rather building an app, let's say like RVs or RQT, etc. Yes, but I don't know. Maybe for your needs, it's better to create an app GUI than a web-based GUI. I don't know. How CPU heavy is using ROS2 plus ROS1 plus ROS1 bridge? Do you need more CPU power to make these three systems running at the same time? Yes, it's more CPU consuming, and especially ROS1 bridge node. It's a very heavy package. Yes, so even compiling it and everything, it's super heavy. So yes. But it can help you to solve some situations where for some reason you need to communicate ROS1 with ROS2. Yeah? Lavania, can we do ROS communication between two systems? System 1 running on ROS2, System 2 on ROS1, and when the ROS2 message reaches System 2, we can use ROS1 bridge? Yes, you can do that. Lavania. You can do that for sure. Playing with the ROS master URI variable, you can achieve that. Yeah, Engineering Nation says, it looks like it was running around 25% usage, which doesn't seem too heavy. Yes, in this case, as you can see, we are, the communication also, it's very light. I mean, we are just communicating one topic. We are only communicating one topic, which is a string. It's very basic. Yes. However, for instance, if you try to communicate many topics from a gazebo simulation, for instance, then it's consuming more resources. Yes. Can we display maps in a web GUI? Yes, you can. That's possible to do. In fact, Brad, we have a course in our academy. Let me show it to you real quick now, since we have already finished it. We have a course in our academy, in our Robotics Academy, which is called Developing Web Interfaces for ROS. Yes, and here one of the units is to display maps in a web interface GUI. Yes? You can see here the details for information on every unit. For instance, we have here one showing a map on the web page. You have a unit specific for this. Yes? So if you are interested in this, have a look. Rashik says, yep, I just did that web interfaces course. It's super interesting. I find it super interesting. Going to try the ROS2 basics for C++ in 5 days. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to show you as well. So also we have, if you want to learn more about ROS, we have here our ROS2 basics course. Here we have it. ROS2 basics for C++ in 5 days, where we have different Unix basic concepts. We have a unit for, explaining the ROS1 bridge with different exercises, ROS2 topics, ROS2 services, debugging tools, etc. Yes? So if you are interested in learning ROS2, I highly recommend you this course. And also I highly recommend you to stay tuned for the following live classes that we are going to do in the next weeks, which are going to be all related to ROS2. Yep? It was really great, Rashik. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brad. Okay, guys, so we have reached the time. We have been able to finish everything. So I'm very happy of that. I'm going to switch to my camera view. Remember, guys, if you want to suggest us a topic that you would like us to create a live class talking about that, when this live class finishes, this is going to be published as a regular video. And then you can leave there a comment saying, hey, I would like to know I would like you to make a live class about this. Yes, and then all of these comments we are going to write them down and get the notes, and we are going to use them. Some of them, not all of them, of course, but some of them we are going to use them for creating live classes in the future. Yes, so that's my suggestion. Thank you very much, guys, for being here with me in today's live class, and I'm going to see you in next Tuesday, where we are going to discuss about how to port a program from ROS1 to ROS2. Yes, super interesting. So don't miss it, guys. Yeah, that's all. So stay safe, guys. Thank you very much. And I will see you very soon. Bye bye.